Let's look at how to put together a chigirie artwork. In our example, we will be working with this design, Plum and Bush Warbler. Prepare your tools, including the glue, brush, screwdriver, and tweezers. Check the instruction sheet to see what you will need. First, trace and transfer the design to the artboard where you will be sticking down the washi paper. The artboard has a back and front and also a landscape or portrait orientation. Please check that you have the right side and orientation. Layer the artboard, chalk paper, and the pattern on top of each other in this order. Remove the white protective sheet from the chalk paper before use. Make sure that the rough side of the chalk paper is face down. Fix the 3 layers in place using paper clips. Tracing lightly over the pattern with a pencil will transfer the outline to the artboard. Check as you go along that the design is transferring properly to the artboard, making sure to keep the pattern and the chalk paper aligned. Your artboard should now look like this, with the design outline drawn in blue. If there are any lines that you need to erase, gently wipe them away with a damp brush. Now let's decide from which piece you should start. The torn pieces of washi are glued down in layers from the back through to the front to create a sense of depth in the finished artwork. For complex patterns, be sure to plan your steps before you start gluing. With this design, Plum and Bush Warbler, start with the trunk. Now you need to sort out the washi paper you will use for the trunk. The various pieces of washi in your kit are all numbered. Please check the numbers on the washi against the pattern. The numbers on the pattern correspond to the numbers on the washi, so if you look at the pattern, you will see immediately which piece of washi to choose. You will use sheet 30 to make the trunk. The essence of chigirie art lies in selecting which section of the washi to use for a certain part of the artwork. Layer the washi on top of the chalk paper, making sure that the rough side of the chalk paper is facing up. Because each piece of washi is individually dyed, there will be subtle variations in color density and gradation. Search for the sections of the washi that work best for the particular parts of the design. For the trunk, let's select this area because it is closest in color to the finished example. Then transfer the design using the pencil. Once you have turned the washi over, trace over the design with a screwdriver or tweezers to leave indented lines. Make sure to place thick paper under the washi first. Now you are ready to tear the washi. The standard way of working with washi is to tear it by hand. Use your fingertips and nails to tear the washi along the lines you have traced from the pattern. If you pull gently with a slight twisting motion, it should tear easily. If the screwdriver or tweezers lines are too shallow, the paper will be hard to tear by hand. In such cases, retrace your lines. Ease the edge of the piece outward with your fingers to create a softer look. Before you start gluing the torn washi onto the artboard, dilute the glue. Add water to the glue and mix it thoroughly. Now you're ready to glue down the trunk. Apply diluted glue to the appropriate area of the design you have transferred to the artboard and place down your piece. Stroke the piece gently with your fingertips to fix it in place. Basically, to create chikirie artwork, you will repeat the process of choosing the right piece of washi, selecting the area from the sheet, copying the design to it, and then tearing out a piece and gluing down the piece onto the artboard. Once you have understood the basics, you are ready to use various techniques to create the artwork. Let's look at some examples. First, make the moss growing on the trunk. You don't need to trace the shapes of the moss because moss has many different appearances. Tear out the moss pieces freely using the water brush pen or the screwdriver so they look like moss. If you want to give body to a thin piece like this twig, tear the washi into a thin strip and then fold it in half. You could wet the piece using the water brush pen and pull gently to make it longer. You don't need to trace the pattern to tear the buds and sepals because they are very small. Make indented lines on the washi with the screwdriver or tweezers referring to the pattern. To pick up small pieces, tweezers come in handy. For shapeless parts, such as the yellow pieces in the center of flowers, again, skip the process of tracing and tear the washi in the desired shapes while referring to the finished example. Use scissors to cut out the thin parts such as stamens. And for tiny square pieces for pollen, make several slim cuts and then cut the portion again from a right angle, making small squares. Use scissors to create the beak and the eye of the bush warbler because they are too small to tear by hand. If you glue a piece in the wrong place, wet it with a damp brush and wait for a moment. Once the glue has loosened, gently remove the piece. Wipe out any chalk marks with a damp brush to complete the artwork. Your finished piece will be a great gift for a special person. It also makes a lovely room decoration.